What are the three most important story elements in writing? By the end of this video, you will be able to apply these important story elements in your everyday writing. So please hit that subscribe button for more creative and writing content on this channel. There are three vital story elements that you must have in order to have a fine foundation for your writing. And I'm going to go over each story element based on its importance in my opinion. And if you don't agree on the order, that's okay. Number one, characters. Characters are the forefront of your story because they are the ones who are going into the action and doing things that we do in everyday life, except we're putting them into a story, whether that's a short story, a novella, or even a novel. We are setting our characters up for success or even for failure. Your characters have feelings. Your character has human qualities, so treat them as human. And it's so important to get them right because whether they're human or some type of being, they have human traits that we as the readers should be able to relate to. And characters are very complex in so many ways. And you, as the writer, might not realize at first until you actually explore them and get to know them as if you are actually going outside your house and getting to know other people and socializing them. What you're basically doing with your characters is that you are socializing with them and getting down their personality, what they're like, and everything that makes them a person. Characters are not meant to be punching bags just to move along with the plot. They are the plot. They are the ones going through the actions every every page. And if you don't treat them as an actual character, human being, then what is their point of being there? Because they can be anyone else. Have your character allow them to express themselves and feel real and authentic instead of bland and one dimensional. In some ways, you can do this is in the outlining process by writing about some things about your characters, whether it's description, personality, maybe some things that like your backstory, anything that can get you closer into getting to know the character. Or if you want to do an even deeper dive into them, you can make some type of character chart that has everything in there. And hey, they're your characters, and don't let anyone limit your creativity of how you want the characters to be because they're your characters. Number two, plot. Plot is the external conflict, which is what is happening outside the character. So, your character is the one going through the plot, but their plot is the conflict that could interfere with what they're trying to get to. So the plot is going to feel like you have some obstacles or some tasks that the characters might have to go through. Think of the plot as a road that you have to cross. And you know that there's many directions that you can go. And your characters are going to end up at some destination. Well, that's where the plot is. And the plot is not just straight ahead. There's just so many different directions that it could go, and it can be very unexpected. And when writing your story, it can feel like that as well. So I'll give you a example. So I'm currently writing my first novel, and I want to finish that. But of course, there has been a lot of twists and turns along the way, and I have been struggling to finish it because the words are not coming to me. So let's just say I've been going on a downslope whenever it's coming with writing my novel. But I am not giving up because I am going to do my best to try to write each day and get back on that right direction so I can finish the novel that I've wanted to finish for almost 2 years now. So, back to plot. Your plot is also important to get right, but not as important as your characters because remember your characters is what is driving the plot. And also you want to make your characters active, not non-active. Number 3, world building. The world building is so massive and huge. You can do like almost anything that you want to do because it's your world, your rules, and you get to choose whatever happens. In my opinion, world building is the least important of these 3 story elements, but it's also important. The world building is the bigger picture. The world building is where your character lives and how they adapt in that environment throughout the story. And you want to make it as immersive and engaging as possible because as the author, you want to get into the world right away, like as if you were the reader, because the readers want to jump in an experience that they can jump into, relate, and enjoy. So it's very important to also get world building right. And like I said, you can put like anything in there. Just as long as you don't dive too deep or you'll drown. And what I mean by that is having the world building take over the entire story. Possible ways that you can have your world building take over is allow the world tell the story instead of the characters. Because the characters are the ones who not only drive the plot, but they are also seeing the world through their eyes. So it's through their perspective. It's nice having the world building aspect. It can be very fun, and that's where the outlining process is before writing the story. But that's for a later video. Your characters are the number one thing that you should focus on because they are the driving force of everything. They are the center of the universe. Number 2, I would say plot. Plot is what the characters is driving towards, and it's the external conflict that they're going through. And it's kind of fun getting into conflicts within your story, and you might learn some things from it as well. And then world building, though I say it's the least important, it is important because you want to draw in your readers into the story and be able to have fun and feel like they're in it as well. And some people can say world building's the most important and characters are the least. It doesn't matter where the order is. Just know that characters, plot, and world building are the 3 most important story elements in writing. One more question. Is it possible that one of these 3 story elements could make your story bad? I'll say yes and no, because you can have a great world but terrible characters, which would make it a terrible story because you focus so much on the world building that you left your characters to the dirt. And that's the last thing you want for your story because you want your characters to be relatable to your readers. So there's this impact that just stays with them. But on the flip side, you can have great characters in a terrible world. But it can make for a good story and sort of bad, depending on the reader. But overall, if you can execute all 3, at least decent, I'm sure that you will have a foundation of a story. Thank you for watching and see you in the next video.